In this video, we'll do a quick skim of the syllabus. You should download and read the whole syllabus carefully on your own. Okay, page 1, we have course information, instructor information, course description, and we have our major course topics and some learning objectives associated with each topic. You should read these carefully. I'll say a bit more about our 4 topics towards the end of the video when we look at the course schedule. Moving on to page 3, this course has a Canvas site, and everything you'll need, well, almost everything, is in Canvas. The one thing you'll need that is not Canvas is Remind. So no textbook for the course, it's all in Canvas. Remind is an educational messaging tool. This will be our primary mode of communication. This is how I would like you to contact me. This is how I would like to contact you. This is how I will send course announcements, including a reminder each week to submit the homework and quizzes when they're due. So you should get Remind sooner rather than later, and I recommend that you sign up to receive push notifications. That's what I receive, so when you message me, I'll get a push notification on my phone, and I generally get back to you pretty quickly if you message me with Remind. If you were to follow this link here, Communication Tools and Information page, there's a page that goes over all of the different ways that we'll communicate. So here's some basic instructor contact information, information about Remind, what we'll use it for, how to get it, information about class announcements, individual student messages, getting help with the material. You can send questions by Remind, but there are other ways to get help with the material as well, including a Q&A discussion forum, which is discussed in this document, and also Zoom video conferencing. I'll say more about that in a moment. And then I can't scroll down any further here, but there's an 8th section that says what to do if you haven't received a response, and hint it's make sure you try again because probably something went wrong. Back to the syllabus, page 4. So I said that Zoom video conferencing is an option. If you want to have a one-on-one meeting about anything course related, to go over some of the material, to do practice exercises together, send me a Remind message or an email. I will respond to an email, and set up a time. I'll send you a link, nothing to download, and we can have a Zoom video conference. There's a video chat function where we can use our webcams to have a face-to-face chat, but we don't have to use webcams. That's not always an option. We can just use a whiteboard or the screen share function. So this is something that's available if you're interested. Okay, academic integrity and code of conduct. Obviously, both of these are very important. Here is a link to an academic integrity information page that is specific to our course. So if you click that, here's where you will end up. So here's our course statement, the official MESA policy, some just obvious basic standards, and then there's course-specific information. So this whole course has an open book, open notes policy, and here's what that means. Short answer, human beings don't count as open book, open notes, and neither does illicitly obtaining information. So if you get the actual quiz and exam questions somehow, I don't know how you would get them, maybe you're a hacker, but if somehow you get the actual quiz questions, or probably more likely you get them from someone who took it before you, that is a violation of academic integrity. Everything else, using Google, using all of the resources provided in Canvas, looking at the solutions to your own completed homeworks and quizzes, asking questions in the Q&A discussion forum, all of that is allowed by Open Book, Open Notes. Here is academic integrity information by assignment. So homework, Open Book, Open Notes, as everything is. In addition, you may work with approved partners. So if you know someone else in the course, you can work together on the homework, but you have to let me know who you're working with. When it comes to the quizzes and final exam, no working with other people. Open book, open notes, but nothing else. And last but not least, there's a bit of advice in here, which is that you shouldn't count on this open book, open notes policy as a way to complete quizzes and final exam, because this isn't the kind of course where we're just memorizing information, so it's not something you can just like look up. There will be practice quizzes for each quiz, and you'll have 2 attempts to take each quiz. And even then, if you have the solutions to the practice quiz and your first attempt, like looking at those 2 things won't necessarily help you do well on your second attempt at the quiz, because you need the skills to do well. So you have open book and open notes, but you shouldn't count on them too much when it comes to quizzes and exam. Okay, back to the syllabus. Speaking of quizzes and exams, evaluation. So here's what you're going to be expected to do and how you'll be graded. You will complete weekly check-ins. You will complete weekly homework assignments. You will have 9 quizzes, and there will be a final exam. And you can see visually what each one is worth. Here is a breakdown. So check-ins, there will be 5 of them, each worth 10 points for a total of 50 points. That's 5% of the total grade. Homework, 7, 40 points each, total 280 points. You can see how this is going. There are 1,000 points in the class, so it's pretty easy to calculate your grade. And then here's specifically the quizzes. Recall that there were 4 major units of the course. Well, here are the quizzes associated with Unit 1, Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4. Letter grade breakdown. And then here's some more information about each of those evaluation categories. So homework. As I said, there will be 7 homework assignments, 1 each week, each worth 40 points. That's typically going to be 41-point questions. And these homeworks will be divided into multiple parts. They're open book, open notes. There's no time limit. You don't have to complete them in one sitting. Anything that's auto-graded, and a lot of it is worth, you get 3 attempts, but some of it will be manually graded, and those will only have 1 attempt. There will be lots of practice exercises similar to what you'll do in the homework with solutions available. You're also going to have 9 quizzes. 1 is a syllabus quiz worth 20 points. So this is sort of the odd person out, but there are 8 sort of regular quizzes, each worth 50 points. These are open book, open notes. They will have a time limit, which is why you shouldn't count too much on this open book, open notes policy. You'll have more than 1 attempt, but it will actually be 2 different quizzes with different questions on them. There's going to be practice quizzes available for each of those quizzes. They'll be very similar to the homework. There will be a final exam worth a quarter of the grade, 250 points. Again, open book, open notes, but you shouldn't count on that. There will be a time limit. I don't know what it is yet, but no retakes on the final exam, similar to homework and quizzes, and there will be a practice final with solutions available. There will be weekly check-ins, so each week, there's 7 weeks, you'll have an opportunity to check in. These are very easy and very short. You'll basically just reflect on your progress, have an opportunity to ask questions or provide feedback. Essentially, I'm going to just ask you how you're doing. Each of these is worth 10 points, and you can earn up to 50 points, which means you can skip 2 without penalty. And last but not least, there'll be 1 extra credit opportunity, which is a course eval worth 20 points. Okay, late policy. Late check-ins aren't accepted. If you miss the check-in due date for 1 week, then you complete the check-in for the next week. You can miss up to 2 without penalty, but you can't submit any late. Homeworks and quizzes are not penalized if you submit them within 1 week of their due date. With rare exception, I will accept late homework and quizzes beyond the 1 week late period, but that would have to be a special case, and you should communicate that with me. So, as we'll see in a bit here, all of your homework, quizzes, and check-ins are going to be due Friday nights at 11:59 p.m. So if you don't want to complete stuff on Friday, you want to give yourself the weekend to do it, you can always submit your work the 2 days late without penalty. This gives you some wiggle room to work with. What I definitely advise against is always being a week behind, rushing on Fridays to submit the work that was due a week ago, because then you have no wiggle room. And the final exam will be docked 25 points for each day late. Okay, page 7, we have important dates, so you should know when the last day to drop with a refund, W, or withdraw is. Page 8, we have our course schedule. So recall there are 4 units for the course. Instead of covering them sequentially, like first we'll do unit 1, then unit 2, then unit 3, then unit 4, we're going to do multiple units at once. The material doesn't really build on each other sequentially, but it is all integrated. So throughout week 1, the material will build. If you miss week 1, you're really going to be at a disadvantage for the further weeks. The material does build on each other, but it does so in an integrated way. And it might seem like a lot during week 1, but as you move through the course, it will become clear how the units fit together. And also, it's kind of nice to draw out some of the more difficult material instead of cramming it into a week. And unit 2 might be the more difficult material. So what's in each unit? So for the most part, unit 4 will focus on errors in reasoning. One kind of error has to do with our actual thought processes, what's going on in our head, how brains are working, so cognitive biases. And another kind of error has to do with evaluating arguments. So some arguments are bad, and we'll look at examples of arguments or common fallacies in arguments. Our goal here isn't really just to spot fallacies, but to go through the work of analyzing and evaluating arguments and being able to spot when there are problems with it. To be able to do this, we're going to need all of the skills that we're developing over here. So unit 1, we're going to focus on understanding arguments. We're going to be able to identify them, analyze them, improve them, clarify them. So basically all of this is just being able to recognize them when we see them and make sense of them. In units 2 and 3, we'll be evaluating arguments. Unit 2 will be evaluating arguments using logic. So we're going to develop the tools of logic to evaluate arguments. In unit 3, we'll be using sort of non-logical tools, or perhaps the tools of science, to evaluate arguments. So we'll use statistics, probability, and causation. So those are our major units for the course. In week 1, we will start looking at what an argument is. We will start talking about logic and proving that an argument is good or bad using the tools of logic. And we will discuss what exactly critical thinking is at all in the first place. How does all this material fit together? So that's week 1. There is a course schedule sort of activity checklist here. So this is everything you need to do that counts towards your grade each week. It should be pretty clear in Canvas what exactly you're supposed to do. And I'll go over that in the welcome video where I talk about Canvas. Last but not least, the syllabus ends with a syllabus quiz. There will be a syllabus quiz in Canvas. The same questions that are on the actual PDF of the syllabus will be on the Canvas syllabus quiz. So if you like to have something to print out and answer as you read the syllabus, go for it, or you can skip it here and just open it up when you take the Canvas quiz and look at them there. Okay, that concludes our skim of the syllabus. Again, you should open up and read, maybe even print out and read the whole syllabus carefully.